Hello and welcome to The Winding Stairs. Tonight we have the privilege of having a good brother who is a he's a student of Masonry as well as the Illuminati, and I I think it's going to be a very exciting conversation. Thank you very much for joining us. Our brother is Brother Josef Wäges, and Brother Joseph just recently participated in the publication of a book titled The Secret School of Wisdom, The Authentic Rituals and Doctrine of the Illuminati. I'm sure that you have heard about the Illuminati, and there are a lot of misconceptions out there about what the Illuminati were and supposedly still are, and we're hoping to dispel some of these misconceptions and give you a glimpse at what the actual rituals and the actual organization of the Illuminati was. Brother Joseph, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Brother Juan. Thanks for having me on tonight.
It is my pleasure. Brother Joseph, we're interested in knowing a little bit more about the book, but first I want to get to know a little bit more about you. How long have you been studying Freemasonry and the Illuminati? We are back.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, it could easily be somebody trying to sabotage the revelations of the Illuminati.
That's what we'll say every time there's a technical hiccup, won't we?
Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on the New World Order every time.
That's right. They're trying to get us right now.
Okay, well, continuing the conversation, we spoke briefly about why the Illuminati is by many people considered to be an evil organization, but we know that such is not the case because the intent was to bring humanity as a whole to a higher standard, to be able
Right.
to subscribe itself to moral standards and ethical standards that were generally accepted at the time. We touched briefly about the history of the Illuminati, 1770s, but the second misconception that I wanted to get to was that it was still in operations. There is a definite end to the Order of the Illuminati, correct?
Yeah, there is.
And could you tell us a little bit more about how that came about?
Yeah, sure. So I think where I probably cut off at somewhere was the Illuminati. They went along, and Adam Weishaupt kind of got discovered. There was a lot of negative stuff against them in 1785, and he flees into exile because a lot of their papers were published, and it was kind of a means of shaming them and distracting away from this land scandal that was going on. This the Bavarian elector, a guy named Karl Theodor, he got kind of caught up in a deal where he was trying to exchange land for a title of nobility in Austria, and the public caught wind of it, and so he was deflecting away from it as a means to kind of keep the public's mind off of this deal. It's like, well, hey, don't listen to me. There's this group right here, the Illuminati. Look, they're doing subversive things. Look at them. Look at them. And so he flees into exile because it wasn't very popular at that point, and so the whole southern Germany gets cut off in 1785, and so the northern parts kind of go on for a little bit from probably till about 1792, and then as the French Revolution comes along, people embrace the ideals of the French Revolution, like a people's republic, and so the Freemasonry was seen as more of like an aristocratic type thing, and so it fell into decline. And it didn't go away, but so basically Freemasonry proper like that, it kind of goes on the decline, and the Illuminati just get lost somewhere in the mix, and we just lose the trail, and that's the end of them.
Yeah, which I'm sure that fuels a little bit of that suspicion that it just fades away into history. So people view that as as evidence that it perhaps went underground, but people read into things however they will.
Yeah, and if people will look at a lot of the different books that are out there too, you can follow the trail to like there's really one lodge that's still operating. There's two. There's Gotha and Weimar, and there's there's two lodges that are still going till about 1792, and then like it just kind of goes silent. So it just you see it like it basically contracts down into this a couple little lodges running this thing, and that's it. So that's all we have really for the Illuminati at about 1792, and then they're done.
And for those of you who are watching the live broadcast, or if you're watching the video and you have any questions or any comments about the things that we're discussing, we invite you, if you're on Twitter, find us at WindingStairs33 and use the hashtag Illuminati Rituals so that we can follow up the conversation. Clearly there's a lot of misconception out there, and we can share what we know about the order, and hopefully that will dispel some of the misconceptions. The other one that I noted down here is that they were advocating for the overthrow of the government. Was this one of the tenets or one of the intertwined beliefs that were part of this organization?
No, it's a misconception. So, like, what was going on was Adam Weishaupt, he was heavily influenced by a lot of French philosophers, right? Bonnet, Boulanger, Rousseau, people like that. And so if you read this one text, it's called, Rousseau had it was called On the Origins of Human Inequality. And basically he says in this piece that humanity starts out in an exalted state because he's primitive, right? He doesn't have a lot of needs, right? So he's truly free. He doesn't have a lot of things binding him. His concerns are shelter, a place to live, taking care of your family, things like that, the basic needs and necessities. But through his needs and the development of society, people come to work together and join together and form, tight-knit communities. And by doing this, people exchange powers, right? Because, not everyone can farm the land and ensure security and run the society. And so it's through these associations like that. So what the main argument in the text is that humanity starts at an exalted state because they're free, because they have few needs, but through their needs and through the progression and development of society, humanity becomes enslaved, and it gives rise to things like kings and nobles, different things like that. But it also talks about that the true source of power is one person being in the indispensable need of another for whatever it might be. But when another person falls in the need, so what you're seeing is it rationalizes the exchange back and forth between the balance of power over time. And so what they're arguing is through enlightenment, and by enlightenment they mean education, right? Education in science, philosophy, wisdom, virtue, morality, and the application of this knowledge to their lives will raise humanity up. So we started in an exalted state. We fell into basically we fell into slavery, and through this education we'll raise ourselves back up. And so in respect to government, what they're saying is that we won't need a king to look over us. We won't need a father. We'll be able to govern ourselves, right? So it's important because prior to this, the America was the first place really to throw off their monarchy successfully. And why shouldn't they? Because they were so far away, and self-governance makes sense. And so they're inspired by these ideas, and like they write about America several times in the book. There's like 3 or 4 little mentionings of it, about the potentiality of it, right? Like what was this? Like it's the People's Republic coming on Earth. And so while he's writing all this, people are reading about it, and it looks like it's coming true. It's like, wow, the People's Republic really is coming up, and man is capable of governing himself if he holds himself to a strict code and a strict lifestyle. And that's kind of what's going on here. And so that's when they're talking about government, they're really saying that, we're not talking about overthrowing government. They're saying that man will be capable of governing himself, and these institutions will, just will become irrelevant and unnecessary, and not through a violent means. And they say it several times in the text, violent revolution is not what we seek. We seek to influence people to raise humanity to its its full why can't I say that word? Dignity, and and they'll basically be able to govern themselves, and that's what's going on. So it's not overthrow the government; it's governing oneself and the capacity for it.
And that makes perfect sense. In along the same lines, before we move on to the next point, the people might read into the when you shine that importance into self-governance and the self-improvement, ideally, if you were to able to apply that to the whole community, to the whole society, then clearly, yeah, government perhaps would be completely obsolete. But it's somewhat of an utopian belief that
Sure.
something like that could happen. Doesn't mean that you abandon any effort to improve individually or as a community, but to take it to the extent where everybody is absolutely capable of self-governing, making the government obsolete, it's it's not necessarily attainable.
Right, it's a utopian ideal, right? But it's kind of like anything. Like when you have a goal for something like that, say like your goal is to help as many people as you can, like that. You're not going to be able to help every person, but just because you're not going to be able to help every person shouldn't limit you to not helping as many people as you can. And so it's like an object, right? It gives us something to strive for, but we also need to take in mind that it's not an attainable thing. It's just a goal, right? It's a concept, and that's the difference.
That's excellent. I like that. The along the same lines is the misconception that the Order of the Illuminati had as one of its goals to overthrow religion and rid society of religion. Is there any veracity to this?
No, and that's where it gets complicated because we start seeing elements of it in the Scottish Rite degree where it starts talking about Jesus. And what is it talking about with relationship to Jesus? And they're advocating that Jesus had a secret doctrine, and that really, even to like the non-Christian, that Jesus is it could be the example of the ultimate person, like the ultimate savior of humanity, because through an application of his teachings, and they argued that he's got an esoteric teaching, but it's really not an esoteric thing. It's something that today we take for granted that that Jesus. Remember, like where it says in the Bible, where Jesus came to, he didn't come to bring peace, but he came to bring a sword, right? And what he's talking about is like his message isn't a uniting message. It can be divisive, but not divisive like in a subversive manner. It's in a manner of attaining salvation and self-perfection, and it's through this path that we walk that ultimately brings us into conflict with other people who, for whatever reason, don't think that's such a great idea.
Yeah, don't we see that every day? Now, there is one more misconception that I found fascinating, and there will be conspiracy theories about this and parallels with other conspiracy theories, but mainly that one of the goals was global depopulation or reducing the population of the Earth as a whole. Where does this come from, and is there any truth to it?
Okay, so the concept for this, I think Alex Jones put out a film. We called it Endgame, and he was talking about global depopulation, and it's the plan. The elite are going to do this, and they're going to do it through all these different means and methods, and that's totally something else. But he also like harps on the Illuminati this, the Illuminati that, and so that's why the idea floats around out there. But the interesting part about it is when you actually read the ritual text. Remember we were talking about just a minute ago. Rousseau's On the Origin of Human Inequality, right? Mm. Well, that concept's in it's in the priest degree, in this thing called the Lesson in the First Chamber. Well, it gets expounded upon in the Rex degree, the top degree in the system, and he takes it one step even further, and they basically go into that, not only is mankind going to be raised up to this exalted state, that all these things are going to happen, but that it's a part and it's a system of nature, and God has it encoded into nature itself like that the actual system and the mechanism of this world will lead to this state. So it's a natural progression of things to start out exalted, to fall to a lower state, and to be raised back up. And so just like we said, through the application of morality, wisdom, and virtue, the knowledge of it and the application of it to one's life, will come to find out that also through the increase of population, right? Because it's when there's a scarce population, and he argues this in the piece, that when there's times of scarcity of population, that's when despots rise up, right? Because they need someone to organize and control.
Can you still hear me, brother? All right, we had another interjection by the New World Order, dark forces of the Illuminati. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties on and off. Um, if we cannot hear Brother Wages in the next few minutes, we will continue to bring more content regarding the Illuminati on another date. In the meantime, I wanted to let you know, Brother Wages had the generosity of offering a free copy of his book, and we're doing a raffle. So if you go to facebook.com/The Winding Stairs, you will find there a link where you can actually vote. From now until the 24th at midnight, you'll have an opportunity to enter several times. There's no purchase necessary, but you'll have an opportunity to enter to receive a personalized copy of Brother Wages' book. And I can see that we have Brother Wages back on.
Yeah, apparently my computer decided it was a good time to go to sleep for some reason.
There's an evil hand in this.
If they're going to get us, they're out to get us. I'm sorry.
We will finish this interview. Well, I was just telling the viewers that you were very generous, and we thank you very much for offering a personalized copy of the book. Again, the title of the book is The Secret School of Wisdom, The Authentic Rituals and Doctrine of the Illuminati. And Brother Wages, we talked about the Rex degree. We talked a little bit about the Priest degree. You, for those listening, you can learn a lot more about everything that's entailed within the rituals of this defunct organization when you get the book. And I wanted to ask you, within the book itself, there are several illustrations to support some of the things that you present. Could you give us an idea of what types of illustrations the people can find in the book?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So in every manuscript, or not every manuscript, but most of the manuscripts, there's the ritual texts have like examples of what's in there. So what you'll find in the book is you'll find in every all the best rituals from all the best images from the best manuscripts. We've included these images, and there's different variations of it. And I've actually collected quite a number of the variations of the different ones. And so you'll see things like the seal for the Minerval jewel that's actually drawn in there. You'll see the Minerval carpets. You'll see the Freemasonic lodge carpets. You'll see different pieces of regalia. And you'll also have like ciphers and things that are also in the text too. So I mean, it's literally as the text appears, all the things in the right spots. It's literally like it's a total, like a perfect reproduction of like the best ritual book that could ever be. So it's kind of like a blending of all the best manuscripts. And so what you get is like the best copy.
That's excellent. That's excellent, and I'm hoping that everybody that listens to this gets a copy, and gets to get a more privileged look at what this order was about and some of these illustrations. Another thing that Josef Wäges did for the listeners of the Winding Stairs is that he'll be able to provide some exclusive scans of some of these manuscripts, of some of these pages of the manuscripts, and we're going to make those available to you if you go to thewindingstairs.com/secret wisdom. Am I right about that?
With the Secret School of Wisdom?
Yeah, let me see here. I want to give you the right link so that you don't miss out on this. Secret School. When you go to thewindingstairs.com/secret school, you'll get a chance to get a link to where you can see some of these illustrations. Clearly, we encourage you to get the book, but will they find in this set of images that are not in the book?
Oh yeah, that's why I put it in here. So they'll have access to some of the variations, and some of them are really cool, some of them are interesting, and then some of them are just like whoever was doing the manuscript apparently wasn't very good at drawing, so some of them are kind of rougher than others, some of them are better than others, and so what you get a kind of a feel for is just the variations that exist that are out there. And so it's the same way with the handwriting too. Like that's why it was such a tedious deal, because some people had really great copying handwriting and other people didn't, and you can guess which ones which ones were the ones we kept.
That's excellent. But there's one thing that I really like about it, and I've seen most of the illustrations that you'll be able to get by going to that link, and some of these really give you that feeling that you are looking at the actual pages where
you are actually
where the man has illustrated or actually written, or it's almost like that connection, not to just a text that's written. Like this is the actual product of a man's hand and brain. So you're having this connection with someone who, back in the 1770s, was conceptualizing an order that would keep us talking about them, hundreds of years later. I think that's fascinating. So again, since I stepped all over that that link, thewindingstairs.com/secret school, and you can put your email there, and you'll be able to download those images. There's so much we could be talking about with this. I wish that we'll have an opportunity to speak a little bit more later.
Oh, sure. Anytime you want it, man.
There's one thing that I'm very curious in your access to all these sources of the Order of the Illuminati. Have you noticed any parallels of the Illuminati and Freemasonry as we know it today?
Oh, totally. So, we'll just even from the symbolic degrees, right? Let's look at those and talk about those for a second. So the symbolic degrees in the Illuminati system, they took it basically a full ritual book from this lodge called Zionite, the Unity Lodge in Frankfurt, and they basically took the whole system, rearranged the catechism questions. They only put one obligation in the entered apprentice degree. There's no obligations in fellowcraft or master. The lectures are, for the most part, the standard ones that were going on back then, and the floor work of the lodge, it resembles a lot the strict observance system. And so when we look at it today, what's close to it, the rectified Scottish Rite is very close to it, like what they work in Germany and in France. And the reason is because they were both heavily influenced and came out of the strict observance. So these are the reason why they're so similar is they come at the same time period that the strict observance is falling. And so people are taking what's familiar with them, right, and starting there from that point. And then so what you see is a tree with two little trunks that kind of branch off to the sides. And so they both come from a same source. And so the rectified Scottish Rite today, it's different now. They have a few different things inside of it, but the main form and function and the way the lodge is set up, it's very close to it.
And are there any things where they really differ, where Freemasonry is either not compatible with the teachings or beliefs contained within the Illuminati, or is there not something as contrasting in it?
Well, what was interesting is when they decided to start merging Freemasonry and the Illuminati, the first three degrees, the novice degree, the Minerval degree, and the Illuminatus minor degree, they wanted to merge it with entered apprentice, fellowcraft, and master mason. Well, that's what they wanted to do, but the thing is that it was never going to happen because it wasn't a good fit. They really weren't compatible. And in truth be told, a lot of the requirements for being a Freemason were less stringent than what they were imposing on the lower part of the system. And so one of the remedies around this was that Adam Weishaupt promoted rapid advancement in Freemasonry. And so they would do 3 degrees in 3 days in some instances, and with their system. And so it was basically they kind of go right through the Masonic degrees, and then you'd be a Master Mason, and then only a few Master Masons would be selected to go up to the Scottish degrees, and that was kind of their means of filtering Freemasons that wanted to join their system and to go further. So they kind of in a way, they were using Freemasonry to spread the idea of it, and then to use from that pool of candidates, because they're already enlightened guys, they're already good people, they're already moral, they're already upstanding. So it's kind of like a filtering mechanism, right, for recruitment. And so the best of the best of the best, they would take those guys and then advance them. And so that's what was going on. And also, they were using lodge finances from the symbolic degrees to kind of fund their activities too. So it was basically a kind of a snare is what they were doing, and that's why. So the subversive activities in the Illuminati, it had nothing to do with what was going on in government. It had everything to do with what was going on in Freemasonry.
Interesting. Well, there's a twist right there, if there ever was one.
Yeah.
Now, do you have of the rituals that you talk about in the book? Is there one that is your favorite?
Well, I like the lectures, because the ceremonies, they're very interesting. The regent ceremony is pretty cool. I tell you what, I like the Scottish Knight ceremony. Those are really good, and you guys can kind of look into that stuff. But what I really like are the lectures. The lectures to me are where the fireworks are at. And there's one like that. We were originally supposed to be in print like back in October, and then we got this new document that we went through, and basically what it is, it's an early text Adam Weishaupt wrote for it's a preparation for those who are to participate in the governing of the order. And so basically it's like his instructions, like how to lead this secret society, and it's dynamite. It's really, really good. And the thing was, it was split up. There was like a partial copy of it in someone else's handwriting, and then the front end of it was the only document that's left in Adam Weishaupt's hand is this missing instruction. So that's what's crazy about the whole thing is the only thing that's still his was the first half of this other text that we didn't know what it was, and when you kind of put the two together, there was a little bit of overlap, and that was it.
Wow, that's fantastic. I can't wait to read through that now. Man, oh man. Brother Joseph, I really appreciate the time that you spent with us. Thank you for the great work you've done in shedding light about this. Thank you for putting at our disposal something that would have taken somebody over a decade, as it took you to compile. So,
yeah.
So I really appreciate you joining us. If the viewers want to learn more about you and about the book, how can they? Where is the best place where they can find you?
Well, if they want to be my friend, they can find our fan page on Facebook. Just look the Secret School of Wisdom. It's pretty easy to find there. Then if you want to get personal copies or author signed copies, or even if you want to look at getting some of the regalia pieces, I've kind of reproduced some of them because it's real interesting because the only thing that really survives is that Minerval jewel, but we have the illustrations of the other regalia, and so we were able to reproduce it. And I've got more editions coming, but it's kind of neat, like for a collector's sake, like just to have some of these things sitting around and be like, you hear everyone says, that's Illuminati, no, that's Illuminati, and then you can go to my page, which is IlluminatiRegalia.com, and you can say, no, that's Illuminati.
the real kind.
That's the real deal. That's right.
That's excellent. Well, thank you very much once again, and we will continue this conversation offline. So if you're on Twitter, find Winding Stairs 33 and use the hashtag Illuminati Rituals. That will help you keep on the conversation. And on Facebook, for sure, check out what's the Facebook page again for?
Just look up the Secret School of Wisdom, and you can find it right there.
Excellent, and hopefully we'll have more conversations going out right there. So for those of you who took the time to watch this video, thank you very much. Please do me a favor, if you liked it, click on the like button. If you like this type of content, we have a lot more of it coming, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And finally, on the comment section, make sure that you also comment right there. Hopefully we'll be able to answer your questions, and if you have anything to add to the conversation, we'll love to see it there as well. And in the process, thank you again for joining us as we continue our journey up the winding stairs.